Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna get seasick. Hang on, I'm gonna pin that to the. Pin.
okay, so
Okay,
currently,
Hold
right,
it still,
cool.
Andrew.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Okay, so you've obviously got reasonably organised racking already. Makes sense. So with those racking, so AO1 there.
yes.
Have you got? Is it AO1? What's the first bay at the bottom called? So just go. Yeah. Go into the bay. Go into the aisle. So what would you call that bay at the bottom there? That,
That's what we call. I can't see this.
okay, so
You come forward a bit.
It's a bit blurry, Andrew.
it is. So it's AO1.001.
Zoom
It's
in on that.
AO1
Are you on a web?
BO1?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna let's just write that down. So that's AO1-BO1-LIA. Okay. What's that? Was
So
it,
level 1A is L for level
We start
1A
in level 1.
okay. So what's the BO1?
for Bay. Bay 1?
Right. So it's AO1 is AO1 is aisle 1.
Yeah, it's
BO1 is bay 1. And,
yeah,
Yeah,
so
so in that case, it's
so
aisle 1,
aisle
bay
A.
1, level 1.
and level 1 is it's the bottom, it's the first level, and it's either the pallet on the left or the pallet on the right. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yes, A is the first pallet, then B is the second pallet.
And so it's AO1-BO1 LIA, L1A and L1B. And then
Yeah,
above
correct,
that,
yeah.
I'm assuming it's AO1-BO2 L1 L2 L.
Yes,
Is it
correct.
L1A or L2A?
There's L2 is the second level, and
sorry.
L1 is the ground level.
Right, sorry, I've got it now. I've got it. So there were
But some people say that the first level is level 10, and then below is up to 10 because you could have shelves put in later or whatever.
yeah.
So that might change a little bit depending on the design of what, of how we do it.
Look. If it makes sense to you, then I don't think we need to do too many changes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's just an extra thing that people have to do, unless it's been a problem for you. A lot of people do have level 1 as the bottom level, and then go upwards. So that's cool. That's cool. And just turning around to look down the aisle. The aisle on the left-hand side, is that what aisle that one there? So you've got one on the left and one on the right.
Yeah, correct. So that one there on the left is a new aisle.
Yeah.
That we put in just recently. So I think we called it Z for now.
Okay. So when you go down, well, maybe go down the next aisle then, just so we can get an idea of an established aisle. So is it B on the left and C on the right?
So A and B, and then we got C, D.
Yep. No. Okay. So, but you walk down there. So you walk down. You've got B on the left and C on the right. Is the end of the aisle? Can you walk around there, or is it like in and then out?
Yeah. No. There's a section halfway down, like a drive-through.
Yeah.
Section, and then on the other side of that, we call that BO2 and CO2, depending on which side. Yeah.
Okay. So you
as like a separate section, but now it's all joined together, which we had it separate at the start, and we've added more racking in. Now it's all one run, so it's all CO1 and BO1 now.
Okay, no, that makes no sense. Okay,
and it's just added extra bays.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. So BO1, it's going to be BO1-BO1 and BO1-BO2. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
And then CO1-CO2. So what when you're picking, do you cross pick? So do you walk down and get things from both sides, or do you walk down B and then walk back up C?
They could. So at the moment they're just going off paper picking slips. So they they could be picking 20 items on one pack slip, and they could pick the first item and then go to aisle F and then come back to C and back to F and then down to H, and
Right.
it's
So
it's just however it comes on the pick. However it's categorized, because at the moment we've got the goods in categories of product. For example, plastics with plastics in our range. Just categories in the product groups.
Right.
So if you're normally picking plastic tubs, someone would order blue and red and black. So we normally try to keep them all together.
Okay. So you're trying to pick like items.
Yeah.
Well, like
so
items-
with our fixed picking bays, we try to have it in categories of the item of what the product is.
Right. Okay.
Because just the nature of the game, our products, people tend to order. People tend to order similar products, so we try to group them together.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The thing that's confusing a little bit is going going to B and then then down to F and then back to B again.
Yeah.
That's so what we would obviously recommend is that you only walk around the warehouse once and pick things up along the way. So
yeah.
But let's assume that we're going to do, like, we're going to walk and we're going to pick one thing from every single bay. Which way would you walk? Well, it very much depends on whether the end of that row you can walk around and then down the next one, or whether it's blocked off.
Yeah, every row you can get down. There is a drive-through on every row.
But can you walk around the end of it? So you can walk down to whatever bay is down.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
And you can walk down the one to your right, down the next aisle.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And is that what you would normally do?
Yeah. Well, most of our items are picked with a forklift.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so most are picked with a forklift.
Because a lot of the items, apart from little smaller ones just like here, which we have smaller picking bins at the start of each row.
Yeah.
On the ends of each row. I'll just go back a bit. Up to just at the start.
Yeah.
And then up above we have more of the bulk pallets.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so most of it is picked with a forklift.
Because you're picking from the bulk storage, or?
Well, they have up to level, what we call level 4.
Yeah.
Is all picking stock, and then about 4, 5, and 6 is bulk.
Right. So when you do so the pick face of these products, do they have a pick face, or does it just rotate based on?
Yeah, about 80% of the products have a pick face.
Right. Okay, and
So
the pick face can be up to level 4 though. Up to
level 4, and then above level 4 is a bulk location for that similar or same product. So
yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right. Okay, so each product's got a pick face, which is good. 80% of them have.
Yeah, 80% of the products have a pick face.
Yeah, and can you show me the different types of products? So why do you pick on a forklift? Because you're picking at a higher level? Is that the reason, or is it because the products are huge and heavy? And
yeah, pretty much because the products are heavy. Like, for example, if you can see these products here, they're in a carton, they're on a skid, they weigh about 85 kilos per carton. They need to pull them down and then transfer them, if it's one-off, onto another skid or pallet.
Right, so they'll take that skid off, take one of them out of it, or whatever it is, and put it onto another skid or pallet. And then
return it back to then return it back.
Right, okay. Cool. It must take a long time to pick, just sometimes.
Yeah, yes, it is very time consuming.
And is that something that you're is that just the nature of the business? I mean, I'm just
Yeah, it's more the nature of the product, and then some products are made up of multiple SKUs. Like one part for one product could be 3 to 6 items. So
okay.
you got to pull down 6 different pallets just to get one of each.
Oh, okay. And is that like a kit or something?
Yeah,
Or-
like a kit. Yes.
Okay. And all right, we'll come back to that. So what other? So the products are all picked off the pallets and then put onto a different pallet. What do you how many pallets would you have on an order? I mean, are these orders like mostly single? Do you mostly send things out on pallets or?
Yeah, majority of
Or
our
skids?
orders go out on pallets.
Right. And how many pallets would there be in an order? Is it mostly one or sometimes two or?
Yeah, pretty much one or two. Some on some bigger orders there could be. Yeah, I mean there could be anywhere up to 20 or so.
To give you an idea, our average order is around about $1,000, and the average product, like that product Andrew has shown you, is probably somewhere between $4,000 to $1,000. So if our average order is $1,000, it'd be like 2 of those products on a little skid would be most of the consignments that go out.
Right. Okay. Right. Do you currently pick each order in discreetly?
Yeah, so what currently happens is when the orders are printed out in a batch, they're sorted, and they will sort them based on the category of the goods, so that if there was orders with the same or similar product in the same aisle, they'll be given to the one picker, so that they're not they try to eliminate, so they're not jumping from every different aisle, but sometimes they have to, depending on the items on the quantity of items on the order.
Yep.
And then each picker will have a selected category of products that they pick, so that they're not jumping, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's all done manually by someone filtering through every single order and just going through it and saying, I'll give that one to him and I'll give that one to him. And
well, let's try and filter that through a computer, sure.
But if that was done electronically,
no, we can do that. Yeah. I mean, it's common that when as long as there's some, there's some logic that can be applied, like, over the majority of the products are this category, therefore we're going to put it on this run, which will be, we can put runs in categories, or there's heaps of different ways we can do it. But one of the main things that we do is shuffle the orders into the right runs. How do your orders get dispatched?
so the orders, so you mean through the freight system, or?
Yeah, do they all go through freight?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, so some customers do their own freight, so they select their own carrier. But we use that platform called Smart Freight, and then it just goes on standard carriers like TNT and Toll and Main Freight, and they're booked out. So once they're picked and packed and checked, the paperwork goes back to the guy who does all the bookings, and he'll book out all the freight.
Right. And so he does that. He just sits in the office in the Smart Freight and puts in the pack sizes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So just with Smart Freight, we are talking to Smart Freight. We're not connected to it just yet, but we are talking to them about connecting to it. I know that MyOb is connected to it though. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes. So when we process a sales order at the moment, by the time the order is given to the picker, it's already sitting there waiting to consign.
Yeah.
So all they have to do at the moment is enter in the details of the weight and dimensions.
Yeah.
and just confirm that the address matches with the packing slip.
Yeah. Okay. So
And they process it and select the carrier accordingly, or select their own freight. Sometimes, if a carrier might want their own freight to go on a carrier that we can use, we can put it through our smart freight system as well. If not, we email them to force them to give us a con note.
yeah. So the one sticking point with smart freight for us at the moment is what we do with other freight systems is we actually just send an update request, so we can update the packages. Smart freight has a sort of a one time. You can only do that once, so you either do it at the beginning, which is like I think they call it a partial thing, which is what EXO can do because it doesn't know about the packages yet.
Yeah.
And then the second one is doing it at the end, which is what we would probably do, where we do know what the packages are. So, but ideally what would happen would be it's in there with the basic details and we just go in and fill in the packages. But that function doesn't exist in smart freight, so you know.
Yeah.
But
okay. Yeah.
We're looking at smart freight and connecting to smart freight for that, but it's not. As I say, it's not there. But everything goes out through smart freight, so it's fairly straightforward. The process is straightforward. It goes out through smart freight, gets selected. Are there any when you say that the freight company is selected already? Is that selected in EXO before the order gets sent, so that the pick isn't, so they know who to ship it with if there's been a pre-selection?
No, it's not. It just sends all their details through, and at the moment we've got it set at automatic. So as soon as you type in the order number that's been picked and packed, 1, 2, 3, 4, it comes up with all the details. And then you just punch in the size, and then you can select whichever carrier you want.
Right, but what you said that sometime,
because some carriers will only ship to certain customers. For example, some don't do home delivery, some don't do retail centres, shopping centres, and schools. So they have to juggle between certain carriers. So the warehouse decide which is the best carrier for the freight to go on.
What about one where you said the customer selects? I mean, the customer, you send it on their freight. How does that get communicated?
Yeah, so our customer, when the order comes through, it just has a note on the order that the customer is going to be using their own freight, and if they have the details of who the carrier is, we can just put that straight into our system if they're a setup carrier that we use currently. If it's got to go on some random carrier we don't use, we have to contact them directly.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay.
And so what we do is, just so that we have a track of it, we just put it down as a pickup consignment.
Yeah.
So we still do the consignment through Smart Freight to say that this has been as a pickup, so we know it's packed and it's ready to go on the day it's meant to be ready to go.
Right, got you. Okay. So when you so just getting down to the picking method, because we can be there's a couple of ways of doing it here. So the two ways that I would say for you then, because everything goes on pallets, is you either use license plate for picking and you scan it onto the pallet as you pick it. That will give you the pallet level contents. If there's more than one pallet, obviously that's more important. The other way to do it is just to do the pick and then at the end say how many packages you created and put the weights and dimensions in. That would just say, like for most orders, if it's one pallet, then that's fine because there's only one pallet, so everything that you picked must be on it. But it doesn't give you if there's two pallets, it doesn't tell you which was on each pallet. So it's less information, but it's quicker to do. Technically, might be quicker to do, or it might not be. We can try both approaches actually.
Okay. Yeah, we can have a look at both options and see what's the best.
Yeah. And then it's a case of if we aren't integrated with Smart Freight, how do we get the information to the guy who needs to know it so that he doesn't have to go out and do anything? So we can do that via some form of email being sent when the packing's being completed, or we can do it by putting it in a queue in the Vexo or something, and he monitors the queue.
Yep. Okay.
But really, we want to do is if it was an ideal scenario, perhaps would be an email sent to dispatch@mhaproducts.com or something that says this order for this customer is ready to go, and it's in 2 pallets. Pallet 1 is this big and heavy, and pallet 2 is this big and heavy.
Yep. Okay.
Do you just a question on that? Do you have dangerous goods?
No, we don't.
Okay. Okay, cool. So it's even easier. Okay. Okay, so are there any areas of the warehouse or products or things that you're uncomfortable with, or that you think we need to have a look at before, as
Yeah, probably we'll go. We have a bulk section for bulky items, like big waste bins, which aren't actually aren't in a marked area, you might say, which we need to work out what the section we call it and mark it, where they are, so the pickers know. Like if you got anyone, so this is a walk through.
Yeah.
So we're about a bit over halfway.
Okay.
And then we've got this drive-through section where they come through.
How about for this work next? Can we adapt the photo?
Yeah, we'll have to come to that, I think.
That's a bit right. Those trucks,
Yeah.
like this one,
Yeah, the more license. So down the back area, we have a lot of trolleys on wheels, of all different types of trolleys that aren't rackable. So we just bulk stack them on the floor they're meant to be in rows. But we don't have a marked section.
Would it be like aisle AO1 floor or something like that? Is that the kind
Yeah, or a section, we just call it a section or something in the warehouse. They have bulk, and then up further, we have like another bulk section which is not racked for stuff that comes out of containers. So I'm just giving you a bit of a walk around to show you some of the pallets. So yeah, and then we have bulk stack trolleys that are coming out of containers, and they just bulk stack them because they're not rackable. And probably the worst.
Is this stuff that you're walking past now just stuff that's come out of containers, and some of it might go into the racks?
Yeah, so some of it will go into racks, but I think we just call it like a bulk area or some bulk area. Then you got these. Sorry, that camera looks like a zoom right up. I don't know if you can see them. So then we have these bulk waste bins.
Yeah.
We've all just stacked in an area on the floor, which we don't have any signs to say what area they're in.
Okay.
so there's like a big open bulk area down the back where they unload the containers.
Yep. So you've got a door at the back where the containers come in.
Yes, correct. Yep. So we've got a dock section.
And does the majority of stuff come in containers?
Yeah, majority of our stuff comes in containers.
Okay. And because it's so big, it's probably not a massive number of products in each container. Would that be right? Or
So we've got these loading docks here.
yeah.
This camera's back to front.
Is that the dispatch area or the or is it both?
And then it gets bulk stacked in front of the dock, depending on.
So that's the incoming area there. So depending on what the products are, some containers could have 30, 40 products in it. Others could have 1,000 products in it, just depending. But
Yeah.
Mostly it comes palletized like that, so it's easy for us to unload it at our end.
Cool. That's nice. All right. And so that's the inwards area. Where's the dispatch area, just so we get an idea of what that area looks like? You know, where the wrapping happens and the orders are prepared. Is that
Staging area, Andrew.
the staging area? Is that the staging area that we're going to go down to that?
Okay, so this is the staging area over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so so this is where they come. They with their picked orders. Once they've picked their order, someone at this area will check off the order to make sure it's correct, and then it gets wrapped and strapped from this section here.
Yeah.
Wrapped and strapped, goes into another section here where it gets finalised, labelled, and then once it's labelled, it goes out. It goes outside in the bay, ready for the truck to collect.
Okay. And those labels that are on those, are they just the labels that you've assigned to them? These are ones that are going out.
Sorry, what was that?
Those have got labels on the front of them, have they? Those labels that you've generated.
Yeah, they're these labels that we've generated. Yes, correct.
And they're not freight labels, are they? They're just normal.
Well, this label here is a label just designed for Woolworths. That's not a freight label. They haven't consigned this one yet, but that's just a separate label which has to go on the pallet, which is a requirement by Woolworths or Coles. I can't remember which.
Yeah. It's an SSCC label.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's just an A4 label, SSC label. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll give you. We do it, but we do it in just a normal label. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting question because where do you get that label from now?
Daniel generates it.
And how is it generated?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That label there is GS1 print. The GS1 have a platform called GS1 print, where you go in and you put the SS. They're just an SSCC label software.
Okay, cool. All right. So we do that for you. So you don't go. What I meant is you don't go into a different platform that's not GS1, like Woolies platform or something like that.
No, we do. Coles. When we send that product to Coles, they have their own platform which we use through a company called Message Exchange. I don't know whether you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Basically, they're just an EDI provider. I think I don't know what they're called, but
yeah, no, the message.
They print their own labels out when we process the orders through that.
Yes. So what generally happens with these things is Avexo creates the SSCC label and then provides the message exchange with the details of what is on each pallet, and then they generate the ASN to Coles or Woolies.
Yeah, I see.
We need to have that conversation with them, but generally speaking, you know, we do a lot of EDI stuff, and we like to generate the SSCC, and then just provide them with the details of what's on each pallet.
Yeah, that's only just for one product line that we sell to Woolworths and Coles, but
Yeah.
that we use that for. So we just use their platform or GS1 print for Woolworths at the moment.
This is some freight which has been booked out, ready for collection for a customer pickup.
Yeah.
They want to go on their own freight, so we pack it all up, ready to go.
Yep.
Then we just do our label through
Smart freight.
Smart Freight, just like that.
Yep.
Just as a pickup, and they get a notification to say that their order's ready for collection, and
Cool.
then they will send us the necessary connote details, how it's going.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. That's fairly straightforward then. Okay. So I mean that's pretty much, unless you think there's anything else that you need me to see, we can probably, I mean that's enough to be going on with. We can come back to it another time.
Yeah. Our main thing is when they're picking, they get a packing slip and they go to the bin location, and the bin location's empty, but their packing slip saying there's 40 in stock.
Yeah.
And they're roaming up and down the warehouse trying to find it, can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's more just having that to know where the pallet's been put, so they can. That's probably where their biggest waste of time is when they're picking orders currently, because they get put in a spot and it's just done by, memory or written on a bit of paper type of thing.
Yeah. Well, we can solve that. We'll solve that from making sure that when you do the receipting process that the product's located correctly. So if you're just receiving those containers and leaving them in that dock area like you looked at before, then we could put license plates on each pallet.
Yep.
And then when they put it away, they don't need to know what it is. They just need to. So someone registers and said this license plate is 3 of this item or 4 of this item. And then when they want to put it away, they just scan the license plate and then scan the location that they put it into. So as long as they're scanning the locations, it's fine, and then it'll put it in that location.
Yeah. So just regarding the scanning of the location. So, for example, at the moment we don't have any barcoding on our racks.
Yeah.
For scanning.
Yeah, well,
that would all have to be. That would all have to be done so we can scan in where the right location. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Especially with your locations being so long. And you do need to do that. Yeah. Look, with the locations, there's a lot there. My question is, do you need to know if the pallet, when you look at between the decks in rack and you can fit 2 pallets in, or 3 Euro pallets or something, whatever.
Yep.
Do you really need to know, put it into A and B, or do you, from picking, is it just sufficient to say it's between these 2 struts?
Yeah. So if it takes 2, if it's a pallet that's oversized, which some of our products are, and takes up 2 pallet spaces, we would just call it, for example, GO1 Bay 015, so Bay 5, then level 3, and that whole level is that one item.
So my question is, why would we do that for everything? Why is it not sufficiently close to find the product?
Because if there's 2 products in the one level, like two pallets on that level, well, you need A and B. But if it's an oversized where you can only fit 1 pallet worth on, it would be just that one level.
But do you need A and B? If you fit 2 pallets in, do you need A and B? I mean, you can put as many products in a location as you want.
Yeah, well, sometimes if there's been picking locations, we go A, B, C, D, E, whatever that's required.
Yeah. But if you're scanning, just bear with me.
Like here, for example, if we've got small items, it would be A, B, C, D.
Would you be open to it just being level 1 or 2 in that case? But then what you would do is you have to scan the product, right? So you have to scan
Correct,
the bin. And if I scan the wrong one, it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm only going to make this mistake 5, scan the wrong thing 5 times, 4 times. Just from a warehouse location management point of view, if you were to switch those 2 bins around for whatever reason, then you'd basically have to do a stock movement, wouldn't you? Because you'd be in the wrong spot.
Correct. Yes.
So I mean, I'm just about simplicity, really. And to me, if I had to go and pick it and it told me to go to level 1, I knew that I'd know that one of those boxes is the one I want. And I can read it and I'd have to scan it anyway, because we would put those boxes there, I'm assuming got little bits in them.
Yeah.
And those white labels on the front tell you what it is. we would just print them with a barcode on it. And when you scan it, if you scan the wrong one, it will just say that's not the right one. You can't pick that.
Yeah. Okay.
Then,
Yeah, well, I am working with a company that does the barcoding for the racking, but nothing set in concrete yet. And they just gave me a few ideas of what they do with other, and they suggested having A, B, C, D. But as you say, like, yeah, not
Just stop
so
moving.
with the pallet, it'll be A and B or 1 and 2 or however you want to call it. But yeah, it just depends on.
But look, I always think, you know, especially at the picking levels, it's people make fewer mistakes if they've got to scan anyway, and just having fewer bins. I mean, we had a customer who does nuts and bolts, and they used to have 0 to A to P on a shelf. So if you think about how many locations you've got in the system, you know, they basically got 20 times the number of locations that they really needed. And they, after a while, just went, can you just, because we're scanning it anyway, can you just switch it off? Can we just go back to, you know, 010101 rather than 010101A? Because they said it's just, you know, he says, we're not making mistakes anyway because we're scanning the product.
Yeah.
And it's not a very long shelf, right? Made it a lot simpler, a lot less locations. But just, you know, if you decide there's only 4 locations, what do you call them? You go to A to D. Do you move the E back to a D and have to do an adjustment? Just practical things. I mean, look, we could talk about it. It's not, you don't have to do it that way.
Yeah,
the other thing, if you're not set in stone with your location structures, why you could go. I'm a big fan of 1A1 or A1A or something like that. So aisle 1, B, A level, you know, 1A1 would be, you know, in your case, it would be AO1, BO1, L1 would be, you could abbreviate that to 1A1, couldn't you? Or A1A.
Yeah, we could, yeah.
Just those kind of abbreviations are good. The other thing I've seen in terms of racking, and it doesn't really matter which way you go, to be honest. It's very common to have you know, B on the left and C on the right, like or whatever, like you have. But I've seen quite a few that just say this is B and both sides are B, and the odd numbers are on the left and the even numbers are on the right.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, I just thought of just define each row as an individual, so that, you know, it would make it easier for them, so they know that that's all C, that's all B, and yeah, I have seen odd and even numbers as well.
I mean, look, it's really up to you, but if you've not got anything set in stone, I mean, you can look at it. The other thing is when you're labeling your racks, because you can't scan level 5, you need to put the barcodes on the Dexian, on the struts, and on the posts down the side.
Yeah.
So you know, generally you choose a side, like you put on the left. Anything on the left relates to what's up to the right of it, and then you can just go and scan them one by one. and those ones with the labeling, you can get them done. You can get them done with color coding. I've seen them done. We can do them, but ours is fairly rudimental. You just go into the system and press print, and we'll print a heap of labels off.
Yeah, I've got a few samples from a few different racking places. So yeah,
I think we
and
should
they
have
color code each level.
I think we should have a separate discussion about the racking and the labeling of the structure of the warehouse, and make it and sort of question ourselves as to how complicated we want to make it. I always like to say, if I walk into a warehouse, I want to know it's how easy would I be able to go and find where the product is. You know, give me a picking slip and I'll go and have a look. And I want to make it as easy as possible for me to do it, because I know that anyone comes in. And what would confuse me about yours would be the AO1.BO1 would be the thing it won't confuse me that long, but I mean, I still have to think about it.
Yeah.
Because BO1's also an aisle.
Yeah, but yeah, correct. So in BO1, you got BO1, BO1.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I've got AO1, BO1. Oh, hang on a second, I've got to think about that for a second. Not very long, I'm not saying. And if it's something that everyone's used to, you can go with it. But it's a discussion point, because you've got the opportunity now, because you've got to print a heap of barcodes off anyway, or you've got to get it all barcoded. So how do you want to do it? So we should probably have a meeting with the warehouse people, the key people that would be doing, and just have a discussion about those things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I can also send you the information from the racking people, from the two quotes I've got. They basically said the similar thing. To start basically from head height as level 20, and then anything below is 1 to 20 or whatever. Just if you want smaller levels, and which doesn't matter if you call it 2, 3, 4, 5, or 20, 30, 40, it doesn't really matter. Just if you ever want to put a half bay in, like a half level in down the track, you can, call it 25 or 30 or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm completely comfortable with that. Most of my comments are around how easy it is how long it is.
Yeah.
And to what level you need to split the pallet spaces up. Those are the questions. And if you're a 3PL warehouse, you need to do that, right? Because you've got to charge people for pallet space. But I'm assuming you're not charging yourself for pallet space. You just want to know where to go and fetch it. If you've got brown box syndrome, as I call it, where you look up in the racking and everything looks exactly the same, then you might want to be able to separate pallet A and pallet B. But if you can easily tell by looking up which one it is, if 1A5's got 2 pallets in it, product 1 and product 2, if you can look up to 1A5 and easily say, oh yeah, that's that's the product I want, then I don't really need to know A and B, do I?
Yeah, we do have some products that are similar to each other. That's why we do call it A and B. But look, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's scanned in and we know what goes in that space, that's the main thing.
Why don't we, before you finalize it, what we'll do is when we get a Vexo set up, we'll set it up really simply. And then you can do some putting away. You can do some, when we do the receipting, you can receive it, put it away. You can then replenish it to the pick face and all that kind of stuff. And and then sort of see how the process flows, and then go, oh, no, we definitely need A and B. Because I can't tell you that. I can just ask you, and you can always add it later, of course. But if you're going to get everything printed, we want to get it right first time, how do you?
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we need? So with the pegging, and once it's picked, and it's regarding someone just checking off to make sure it is the correct thing.
Yep.
Would you recommend that they have a paper picking slip so they they scan the picking slip, then we go and find the item?
No way.
I'm just a bit hesitant on having paperless.
Yeah, and I would say that initially you have the paper, but only until people are comfortable with it, and then you get rid of the paper. You don't need paper. All the information's there. If you want a checking step, we've got a checking step.
Yeah.
You know, you closing the pallets can be a checking step, or you can have. We've got a specific function called check, which you have to then check after you've picked it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can obviously turn that on and off if
you can turn it
Yeah.
on and off, and you can have it on different scenarios. So if you've got a pickup run, and I don't mean pickup as in the courier's coming, I mean a pickup as in someone said, I'm going to come in my car and fetch it. Then you don't need to go through as many steps, right? You just want to pick it and take it to the front desk and get a signature.
Yeah.
For example. So you could set that up quite easily in a Vexor to come and get a signature. The other way, of course, is that you can have it where, oh, this is a really sensitive item. A lot of people, especially when they're sending stuff to say Coles and Woolies or something, they want to check it more thoroughly than some of the other orders because they don't want to get black marks.
Yep. Okay.
Do it so that you can do a different check function. Or some people, they build the pallets for those orders and they don't close them, and then a supervisor comes along and closes the packs, which basically says this is now complete.
Yep.
So, number of different ways of doing things.
All right. Very good.
But let's get a starting point. So the starting point would be, from your perspective, we need to get a list of locations. Whether you give them as, if you've got a spreadsheet as they are now, you can just send it to that and we can start with that. Or you can change the structure and try that as well. But basically,
well, maybe we just send you what we've got in Excel for now.
yeah.
And then we can always change the formatting and upload it in Excel and change them if we needed
Yeah,
to.
just want to put a starting point.
Once before we go with before we get the labels printed for the racking, for the scanning.
Yeah. So send us what you got. So the way that the format should be, and this is important because the Vexor doesn't consider in terms of a pick sequencing, we sequence the bulk storage as well, because our pick sequencing is used for stock check. So imagine stock take really. So you know, you'd AL1, BL1, L1, and then L2, L3, L4, L5, and then you move to the next bay. So, but they need to be, we just have one column in the sequence that you want to visit them.
Yeah, so this is a bin location where we've got EO1, Bay 2A, level 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. So, but we need them in. I'm assuming that's 4 bins then.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
So, and that seems complicated, but yeah, you'd have EO1, BO2A, L1, EO1, BO2A, L2, BO1. Well, you know what I mean. But it'd be 4 lines, because what we've got to do is load it in so that you can scan it into them.
Yeah.
So you can scan it into the location. But what's important is one sequence. In the sequence that you want to visit them, if you had to go and check something in each bin.
Yeah, okay. We might need to do a bit more work around that then, and clean that up a bit before we.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We'll do it in a 1A1 way, because you can always, while you're getting it all organized, we'll just set it up, because and we'll just map it that way. So I'll just create the bin locations. If you just give me the aisles, the number of bays and the height, I can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever it is.
Yep. Okay.
Then I'll give you a starting point, and then, because there's a lot of work to do there, let's just get something in there, because we can just delete the locations and start again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We've got to start somewhere. So let's.
Yeah. So I mean, what typically happens, like for example, this product here that normally goes in here, you know, they may fit 20 on the rack, but there could be 200 in stock, and they fill up these locations, and then the bulk location, if it's not accounted for, they've just poked it somewhere down there, and it's like find Wally if you can.
Yeah. So and that's what we're trying to solve. That's the main thing we're trying to solve here. So just put in if you give me just put AO1 has this many bays.
Yeah.
And then how many levels there are in total, you know, the most number of levels, and I'll just make each one have that number of levels.
Okay, we just do an average. I think, we've got a racking plan which has got all that on there.
Yeah, and then we'll just generate a simple sequence from aisle 1 to aisle whatever number the aisles go up to.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there, I think. And then, you know, you can develop the racking plan in the background once you've got that as a starting point, and we can just switch it over. And then we'll import all the products once we've got access to it. Are all your products in MyOb? Have you specified the AO1, BO1?
Yeah, a lot of them have been, but ones that don't are probably ones that are sitting out in bulk sections, like those big waste bins and some trolleys on wheels and stuff like that. That's just sitting in a what we'll have to call it some section, you know, and like put a label up so that and call it and make some bin location for it.
Yeah. Well, we'll do that. So we'll map that. So I think there's enough to be going on with. What we need to do is, we'll get the bins set up. You've got a meeting with Kat tomorrow to talk about the connector side.
Yep, I think so. Yes.
Okay, so the sooner they get that set up, we'll get the Avexor instance set up ready for that, and then when that comes on board and they give us the details to connect to it, we'll do that, and then we'll have a look at the products that you've got. Do you just one question? Sorry, I've just thought of another one. Yep. Are there any boxes there? So these are pallets, right? But do any boxes get opened up and taken one out? So if someone orders one each, so say that product that you're looking at there.
Yeah.
Like, or you know, is that one, or does?
Yeah, probably more smaller items, like they come in a box of 100 pieces, and they might only need one piece.
No, that's cool. But do you when you buy it, because Exo's only got one stocking factor, yeah?
Yeah, so we buy it per item.
So you buy it.
So we would enter that as 100 pieces.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, all right. And yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so if something needs splitting, whether it's in a carton of 5 or 6, the way we enter it into our system is per piece. So we know that if we've got 6 boxes of 5, we've got 30 pieces. You know, they can go and pick out 20.
So how does it come on a picking stick? That's a good point. If it's
per item.
So it'll say, if it's a carton of 6 and they want one carton, it'll say 6 eaches.
Yeah, it will be as per each. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have anything in the system that says what's in the full? No, don't worry about that. We'll talk about that another time. Okay. We'll deal with what you've currently got. So everything's at the each level, which it should be anyway, I suppose.
Yeah, everything's at each. Yeah.
And do you have any random weight products?
No.
So everything 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Sorry.
So So everything's sold in the 1, 2, 3, or 4 or whatever. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
sell
nothing's sold by
1.2
weight, no.
litres or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And do you have any batch numbered products or serial numbered products?
No, not at this stage. We are talking about batch numbers, because we might buy one product from 2 different suppliers,
Right.
and we want to know which batch it's from. So, for example, we buy something from overseas.
Mhm.
However, we run out from the overseas supplier, and we can buy it locally for 20% more.
Yeah.
So we go and buying that, and it gets entered in under the same code. And we want to know what batch it is, just in case there's a warranty or an issue with the product. But we haven't gone any further with that regarding the batch. But if we do, we can include that in.
Yeah.
There's
Nothing.
nothing.
Whether you want to do that in a Vexo or only, or in Exo as well.
Yeah, the serial thing we don't, but we do have options for certain products where we can, pick by serial number, which would be good too.
Yeah. Well, all that stuff's possible. If you're not doing it at the beginning, it might be easy just to get up and running and then decide to change the product to be serialized.
Yeah.
Or batch numbered after the fact, perhaps. Well, we'll see.
Yep. Okay.
It's up to you to consider it. It's really straightforward to switch it on. Well, the only issue is in Exo. I don't think it's that easy just to switch a product. Well, no, it is. I'll rephrase that. It's way too easy to switch a stock code between being batch tracked and not, because it's one thing that can cause Vexo problems.
Yeah, you can just click a button and change it. Yeah.
Because we're very strict. If it's batch tracked, it's batch tracked, and it's strict.
Yeah.
You can't just switch it off and decide not to batch track it for 10 minutes and then batch track it again. Because then,
Yeah.
how do we know which batch you've just taken?
Yeah. Well, at this stage, nothing batch track, but it could be something down the track that we may look into.
Okay.
Which we are considering something like that. But
okay, so from here, I think the best thing that we can do is just get it up and running so that you've got something that you can go and play with.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll get a Vexo set up. I'll put a request in to get that done. I'll put it in today, so hopefully this week sometime. And then Kat will need to get the connector set up on your side, on their side, and provide us with the details for it. What was the discussion about invoicing? Do you want us to generate auto invoice the products? And if you do want us to auto invoice, do we need to be printing the invoice at the time, or do you send your emails?
Yeah, I will be invoicing at the time because we invoice what we got in stock. And the invoice will be emailed to the customer.
And do you email it at the time or later on in the?
No, the issue is majority of our customers are prepaid customers, so there are because they're prepaid before the invoice has already been sent to them by customer service before then they pay for it. Then the goods are okay to be processed and be picked and dispatched.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. So, but then, and this is a more of a KC question, because obviously, if you've fully processed a sales order, then it doesn't come to a Vexo because it's already done. So I think just need to, when you're speaking to Kat, you need to make sure that that process of how that gets to a Vexo is correct, so that we know because we do the supply, you see.
Yeah. Yep.
So just need to make sure it's slightly different.
Yeah, I think with the invoicing, it will all be invoiced at the time of processing to the warehouse, and then the invoices that need to be emailed I believe will be done once a week.
Alright. Yeah, fair enough. But if I already invoiced it, it's not like.
But it will say in our system that it's invoiced, but the account customers that require the copy of invoices, they get emailed once a week or once every 2 or 3 days, whatever that is set at.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, look, the next discussion then needs to be to make sure that EXO is sending through what needs to go when it needs to go. But that's a Kilimanjaro thing. They know what we need, so they'll fill that in, and then we'll get a Vexo set up. As soon as that's done, we'll have a session on inventory. I just want to do import a couple of products for you to have a look at. So I'll give you access to a Vexo. You download the app and you can have a look. Then we'll import a couple of products and import a sales order and a purchase order so that we can see what they look like, and we can have some discussions about whether we need to pick up instructions from somewhere or something like that we're not picking up instructions. And then we'll put some orders into a standard run, which you can just test with. And then we'll start talking about which picking method we're going to use for you to try. And then finally working out how we get the orders into those allocated runs so that you can, what the best methodology for that is, which of course we can change as we go along.
Yeah, okay.
So the only thing I've probably need from you then is to get me the racking number of rows and columns and levels. Our bay level.
Yeah, okay. Yep, I'll get that, and we can send that through to you.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Well, thanks for your time.
Yep.
If you've got any questions, just send me an email or give me a ring.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
No
No worries. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.